Phillip Schofield, the squeaky clean TV presenter all TV stations dream of having. On air, he comes across as down to earth, nice and approachable, but that is what's seen on camera. Behind the scenes is a different character altogether. This is the story of Phillip Schofield's out of nowhere rise to fame as host of ITV's daytime show This Morning, to allegations of grooming a teenager whom he would eventually enter into a relationship with him now being spoken of as a serial liar and now a disgraced TV personality. We talk about the disastrous downfall of one of TV's fakest characters. Phillip Schofield is known throughout the UK as the presenter of ITV's show This Morning, a daytime morning chat show which has been running on ITV for over 20 years at this stage, but he first broke onto TV on their rival network, the BBC, in the 1980s on the BBC's Broom Cupboard and the Saturday Morning Going Live. He would host a various range of shows throughout the 1990s and gradually became a more household name in the UK. However, once he started presenting This Morning with co-host Holly Willoughby, he reached new levels of fame. They were both the ultimate squeaky clean dream team that most broadcasters dream of. They appear to have a great relationship both on and off screen, holidaying together at certain points and hosting soap awards, as well as being invited to attend events such as Wimbledon. But if you look deeper, there's a darker story emerging. Sonia Poulton, who is a regular debater on This Morning, spoke about how both Phillip and Holly were very much disliked by their fellow peers, even claiming both Phillip and Holly ignored staff that they don't view as relevant. She also said that Holly doesn't agree with a lot of the things she pushes on the show, but even in her own biography wrote that she pushes it for fear of being cancelled. She also claimed that Holly was there more so to be Phillip's arm candy. In 2017, Sonia appeared on This Morning and raised the issue of Hollywood blogger Perez Hilton posting a picture of him and his son bathing together. Whilst not having an issue at all with the concept of a father and son bathing together, she did take issue with him sharing it online, as all manner of sickos and weirdos can access these pictures. Phillip is reported to have turned on her in a way she claimed to have never seen before. Phillip actually called her hysterical. She feels that at this point she triggered something in Phillip, because 3 years later, on February 20th, 2020, he came out as gay via an Instagram statement after 27 years of marriage to his wife, whom he had children with. After coming out as gay, rumours started doing the rounds from people inside This Morning that Phillip had been grooming and having an affair with showrunner called Matthew McGreevy, Matthew being 34 years Phillip's junior. It turned out Phillip got him a job on This Morning when he was 18. It also later emerged that Phillip was a supporter of a theatre group, which Matthew attended when he was as young as the age of 11. So Phillip had known Matthew since he was a child. According to ex-staff at This Morning, it was an open secret. In 2014, Jack Jones hit 1 million followers, and to celebrate this achievement, he actually fired confetti in front of Phillip Schofield, who at the time was having lunch. If you look closely, you can see Matthew is actually sitting having lunch with Phillip Schofield. Now Matthew, at this time, would have been around about 13 years old. Allegedly, Phillip Schofield also has a super injunction against all UK media, meaning they cannot report on anything that involves Phillip or Matthew. However, this is set to expire in July of 2017, allegedly. He also allegedly pays $30,000 a month for a crisis management team. TikToker Ollie O'Neill revealed that he'd actually been Snapchatting Phillip Schofield since the age of 17. The conversations, allegedly, are all platonic. On the 19th of May 2023, Phillip Schofield's brother, Timothy Schofield, was actually sentenced to 12 years in prison for essaying a teenage boy over a period of 3 years. During the trial, the judge, overhearing the case, heard how Timothy had actually confessed to Phillip in September of 2021, yet Phillip, bizarrely, did not report this to the police, but suggested his brother seek help. After the conviction, Phillip stated that he no longer has a brother. It was around about this time we started hearing that Phillip and Holly were no longer friends, and actually hadn't been on good terms for several years. On the 20th of May 2023, Phillip agreed to step down with immediate effect. Rumours of his affair and relationship with Holly had reached breaking point. After leaving This Morning, the two were due to present the soap awards the following month. However, Phillip announced in a statement in the subsequent weeks after that he would not be presenting that award. On the 25th of May, Phillip admitted to the Daily Mail that he had in fact had a relationship with a teenage showrunner. He released a lengthy statement, which I will quote here. "I am making this statement via the Daily Mail, to whom I have already apologised personally for misleading, through my lawyer, who I also misled, about a story which they wanted to write about me a few days ago. The first thing I want to say is I am deeply sorry for having lied to them, and to many others about a relationship that I had with someone working on This Morning. I did have a consensual, on-off relationship with a younger male colleague at This Morning. Contrary to speculation, while I met the man when he was a teenager and was asked to help him get into television, it was only after he started working on the show that it became more than just friendship. The relationship was unwise, but not illegal. It is now over. When I chose to come out, I did so entirely for my own well-being. Nobody forced me. Neither I nor anyone else, to my knowledge, has ever issued an injunction, super or otherwise, about my relationship with this colleague. He was never moved on or sacked, or because of me. In an effort to protect my ex-colleague, I haven't been truthful about the relationship. But my recent, unrelated departure from This Morning fueled speculation and raised questions, which have been impacting him. So for his sake, it is important for me to be honest now. I am painfully conscious that I have lied to my employers at ITV, to my colleagues and friends, to my agents, to the media, and therefore to the public. And most importantly of all, to my family. I am so very, very sorry, as I am for having been unfaithful to my wife. I have therefore decided to step down from the British Soap Awards, my last public commitment, and I am resigning from ITV with immediate effect, expressing my immense gratitude to them for all the amazing opportunities that they have given me. I will reflect on my bad judgment in both participating in the relationship and lying about it. To protect his privacy, I am not naming this individual, and my deepest wishes is that both he and his family can now move on with their lives, free from further intrusion, and that this statement will enable them to do so. I ask the media now respect their privacy. They have done nothing wrong, and I ask that their privacy should be respected." No sooner had Schofield released that statement that his agency had sacked him and released a statement of their own. It stated, "Honesty and integrity are core values of YMU. Its whole business product, everything to do with talent management, is a relationship based entirely on trust. This week, we have learned important news information about our client, Phillip Schofield. These facts contradict what Phillip had previously told YMU, as well as the external advisors we had brought in to support him. As a result, on Thursday, we agreed to part company with Phillip with immediate effect." After this statement, Holly released a statement on her own Instagram story, saying, and I quote, "It's taken time to process yesterday's news. When reports of this relationship first surfaced, I asked Phil directly if this was true, and was told it was not. It's been very hurtful to find out that this was a lie." Eamonn Holmes, who actually presented This Morning with his wife Ruth, made a number of tweets after the story came out. One of them is quoted as saying, "Schofield has finally been caught out, but not the only guilty party. 4 high members of ITV management knew what sort of man he was and never once took action to prevent him controlling or taking advantage of his position over young people." On the 27th of May, ITV revealed that they had investigated rumours of a relationship between Phillip and a younger employee in 2020. Both denied it. On May the 29th, 2 days later, Phillip would release a statement saying the following. To quote the statement, "Now I no longer work on This Morning, I am free to say this. I hope you have noticed that it is the same handful of people with a grudge against me or the show who seem to have the loudest voices. This Morning is the best show to work for, with the best people. In all the years I worked there was no toxicity. You can listen to these persistently loud voices if you like, but the thousands of guests over the years, thousands of staff and crew, hundreds of presenters and contributors, all know it is a family of wonderful, talented, kind, hard-working people, which doesn't exactly jive with what people like Eamonn Holmes and Sonia Poulton have been saying. In fact, Sonia Poulton has been saying this for years, but she was always shut down as being someone with a grudge against This Morning. But now, the public are listening to these allegations, and Phillip Schofield, if he doesn't see a problem, well, That's because he thinks there is no problem. On the 30th of May 2023, Eamonn Holmes did an interview with Dan Wootton of GB News discussing his experiences with Phillip Schofield. On the 1st of June 2023, Phillip Schofield gave an interview with The Sun in which he did a rehearsed apology for all intents and purposes. It looked as though it was set up by his PR team. He was given a script, told to read this verbatim and hope for the best. It did not fool anybody. This wraps up the story so far. Phillip Schofield, with regards to the situation, hasn't covered himself in glory, and once further information comes out, maybe we can dissect that further. There is an awful lot to come out with this story, and there is more to this story than meets the eye. Phillip Schofield has gone down in many people's estimates, and for me, he is a serial liar. He's lied to his public, he's lied to the fans of This Morning, he's lied to his peers, and worst of all, which many people don't talk about, he lied to his wife for the best part of 30 years, which, for me, is unforgivable. Phillip Schofield, on February the 7th, 2020, came out as gay. And whilst I wasn't exactly surprised, because not being a fan of This Morning, I still knew who Schofield was. Having seen him, I always felt that he did kind of come across as someone who was just waiting to come out of the closet. However, once he did, immediately the internet started reacting to it, and started saying that this was down to pressure, not from his wife or anyone, but because the walls were closing in. At the time, I didn't give it much thought, but with all the allegations that have come out, and knowing what we know about his brother, it's an interesting one. And we will watch this situation very closely and see what happens. There is a lot more to come out on this downfall, which, in some cases, you may even say is deserving of one Phillip Schofield.